everyone. Welcome to Taking the Pulse, a healthcare and life sciences video podcast. I am Heather Hoops Matthews here today with Lauren DeMoss, Maynard Nexsen healthcare attorney. Lauren, good to be with you.
Thanks so much, Heather. It's great to be here today.
We are coming to you live from NC LifeSci. This is the annual meeting of the North Carolina Life Sciences Organization held here at RTP, bringing together global companies from all over to talk about the future. We are excited to have a colleague with us here today.
Good to be here.
David Robinson is a partner also at Maynard Nexsen, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now you're a lawyer, and you also have an interesting role.
Yes.
Here in North Carolina. You, in the law firm, you're on the international team working with companies who have cross-border transactions.
Correct.
But you're also Honorary Consul for Japan in North Carolina.
I am.
Yes, for Japan, not North Carolina for Japan, but Japan
Correct.
for North Carolina. Yes.
Yep.
And you're chairman of the North Carolina Consular Corps.
Yes.
That's correct. Well, share a little bit about what you do, if you don't mind. It sounds like a big job, but explain what that might be.
Well, so, being a lawyer in a transactional sense is building bridges, right? We're helping people export products out of North Carolina. We're helping foreign companies do foreign direct investments in the Carolinas. So being a diplomat was kind of the logical next step. The Japanese government asked me to be their honorary consul here in North Carolina. So I'm the sole Japanese diplomat here, kind of sort of unofficially in South Carolina too. And my role is to look after, first and foremost, the Japanese nationals that are here in the state. And there are a lot of them because there's a lot of investment.
Yeah, speaking of, so it's my understanding there are 225 Japanese-owned companies in North Carolina with over 30,000 people employed by those companies, and many of those are life sciences companies.
Yeah, it's when I started this job, volunteer position 8 years ago, I would start every speech with, this morning, 12,000 North Carolinians got up to go work for a Japanese-owned company in North Carolina. That number's now 32,000. So It has been an exciting ride. I mean, it has been the number of Japanese companies that are investing here, hiring North Carolinians, sponsoring events like this, really becoming good corporate citizens here. It's been a wild ride, but it's been a lot of fun.
What role do you play when it comes to recruitment or helping Japanese companies come or expand in North Carolina? I know you recently had a delegation here.
Yeah, so, honorary consuls are a little bit different from career consuls, right?
Okay.
There's a few career consuls here. Mexico, Guatemala are the biggest ones because they have the most foreign nationals here. Honorary consuls kind of depends on the country, right? I can repatriate a body, I can visit people in jail, but I don't really have to do that because that's not really stereotypically what the Japanese community is up to here.
Okay.
So my role is really to position the state as being a friendly and economic and inviting place for Japanese businesses. Our problem is that other than maybe Michael Jordan, maybe Duke to some extent, obviously the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, got to give them a plug. But the rest of the world doesn't exactly know where we are, somewhere between Washington, D.C. and Disneyland, right? And so a lot of what I do is a lot of 3-minute speeches about this wonderful partnership we have between Japan and North Carolina. We started investing back in the Governor Hunt era in courting Japanese businesses. And it's Japanese, there's a word called nemawashi, which literally means preparing the soil before you plant the tree. So we've been doing that for 30 plus years, and we're seeing all these trees grow now. And it's so I do a lot of bridge building. I cook a lot of noodles, right? We do noodle diplomacy in North Carolina because North Carolinians like Japanese food. But a lot of it's just making introductions, sort of strategic partnerships between the cultural organizations that make us look friendly to Japanese businesses, Saturday schools, that sort of thing, and the Japanese companies that, the math always adds up, right? We're a great strategic location, great talent pool coming out of the universities and the community colleges, energy prices, all of that, the math works. But they also want to know that we're kind of an inviting place for Japanese expats to raise their families, and I play that role.
What do they look, if you don't mind, what do they look for in talent, right? What?
Yeah, the universities put us on the map, of course.
Okay.
The community colleges keep the companies here happy. So it's no surprise, Guilford Tech has an aviation program with 400 students studying aircraft maintenance and that sort of thing. It's no coincidence that Honda Jet, the Japanese manufacturer of the coolest airplane in the world, is right there next door.
Right.
The community colleges train the workers that these foreign direct investments need. That's the key linchpin of why we're so successful.
Do you think Japanese companies approach international expansion differently than other countries, or is there something kind of particular to how they view, North Carolina in particular, or what they're looking for?
Yeah, the Japanese, again, it gets back to that nemawashi, right? They will kick the tires a lot longer, probably a lot harder than most countries, right? The math has to work, the spreadsheets have to add up. But they're here for the long haul. And I think that's probably what distinguishes Japanese companies from some of the other countries. The Germans are here for the long haul. The UK companies seem to have a long track record once they establish. But the Japanese companies in particular, I went to a groundbreaking last week for a Japanese company called Kyowa Kirin. Kyowa Kirin is Kirin beer. We've all heard of that. But Kyowa Kirin, the joint venture, is in the healthcare space. They manufacture a drug. You could tell they were here for the long term because, yes, there were politicians giving speeches. But more importantly, they had a patient there. This kid who had written a children's book about her disease and her dog, and the dog was there, and the kid's mom was in charge of this patient population in the United States. I got my book autographed by this little
nice.
kid.
Very cool.
They were here to solve a problem that's here, and you could just tell they were here. They would never leave North Carolina now that they've established roots. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, that is
cool.
nice. Your role, you also have a role with the North Carolina Consular Corps.
Yeah.
What is that? What do you do?
So the Consular Corps, I sort of summarize us as saying we're compulsive networkers.
Okay.
So people should take advantage of this. It's ncconsul.org. There are 25 heads of diplomatic missions here in North Carolina. Runs the gamut from little Moldova all the way up to, Japan, France, Germany. I'd like to see more diplomatic missions here because, again, what we do in common is look out for the foreign nationals that are here. Some of us do visas and passports. I don't, thankfully. That's a lot of work. But we're all building bridges. And so the more of us that do that, I think rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
we've talked a lot about Japan because of your role for Japan and
Right.
North Carolina, but what you do with Maynard Nexsen is international. It's broader than that. So in terms of that, and you look at, international companies investing in the U.S. and especially in the life sciences industry, do you have any thoughts on what the future holds or what that looks like over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I'll use Japan to answer your question, but I think we're on the map. Right, we are on the map as a great place to invest because we generate the talent that the companies need. Yes, the infrastructure is great. Yes, the math typically works. But if we can continue to generate the talent, we will have these announcements. I don't know how we paint a picture right on a podcast, but picture a football field indoors. Now picture 10 of them, right? That's a big space. The Toyota battery project that just invested here, 1,300 football fields under a roof. I can't even picture it, and then the Fujifilm Diosynth,
Right.
huge investment in Holly Springs. Before they were even halfway through constructing, they announced an expansion.
Right.
So, these companies are committed, especially in the life sciences space, because of the talent pool, because of what, the folks at the Biotech Center here are doing. we're a hub, and success breeds success.
Yes. Fujifilm, wasn't it something like $3 billion? I mean, it was just a ginormous
It was.
number.
I feel so sorry for them because it's a record-breaking announcement, right? That happened at the same time that Toyota Battery dropped $14 billion.
Right.
So, we need to be talking more about the Fujifilm Diosynth. Fujifilm, they've been invested in the Carolinas for decades. And so, again, familiarity with all the benefits to being here, transacting business here. I think it was a logical move for them to expand here.
Well, David Robinson, lawyer at Maynard Nexsen, our colleague, and also the Honorary Consul for Japan in North Carolina. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your work in growing our state, growing the region.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.